Hi, everyone. I'm Monica Banks, and this is my presentation about the creator economy because it's exploding. So we're going to talk today about best practices for working with influencers and creators. So first and foremost, three real quick bullets about me. I am the CEO and founder of Gugu Guru, which is the premier content community for parents, and we are powered by mom content creators. Prior to founding Gugu Guru, I was a branding and marketing consultant, and my niche has been in the maternity and juvenile products industry for longer than I care to tell you, but for a long time. I currently live in New York with my family and my Black Lab rescue, Henry. So we're going to break this up into three parts. And right now we're going to start with what is the creator economy? Because to some of you, it might be new. So I'm going to start there and just kind of introduce what the creator economy is. So let's just start with just a real straightforward definition. As defined by Single Grain, it is a community of independent content creators. Those could be bloggers, those could be writers, YouTubers, influencers, anyone who is creating content, and content curators, meaning those who take content and kind of repurpose it maybe on Pinterest boards and that kind of thing, who follow their passion, build a following, and monetize their skills. So why is it important? Why is everybody talking about the creator economy? So as I mentioned, it is exploding. And you can just kind of take a look at some of the numbers here. Since October 2020, there's been 800 million invested by VCs in the creator economy. You have a $104 billion plus market size. And the way that it's growing puts it at $1 trillion valuation in the future. And right now, as far as just kind of the market size and the number of creators, there is a venture capital firm, Signalfire, and they put it at about 50 million people in the world who consider themselves creators. So what's really, really interesting about this, and this again plays into the just kind of why the creator economy is exploding, is that of those 50 million, only 2 million, a little bit more than 2 million would consider themselves professionals. The bulk of those people are actually amateurs. And professionals are those who are making a full-time income. But the big shift here is that of this, 46.7 million piece of the pie of amateurs, most of them or many of them want to move into the monetization piece, whether or not they want to be full-time creators. Some of them just want it to be a side gig. Some of them might want kind of a more full-time thing from it. But many want to monetize. And so there are so many tools coming out right now that enable them to do this. And, as you're kind of reading more and more about the creator economy, you're seeing that just content creation as a whole has become, not like a nice to have as far as starting a business, but a must have. And so online creators are really becoming the new business moguls. And what was once a side hustle has become a main gig for many. And we're seeing people like professional athletes who are leaving, maybe retiring from being athletes earlier than you would expect, and kind of moving into this, content creator role, because they're seeing that it's exploding and that the word content or the description of content creators that's really almost synonymous now with entrepreneur. So why should you, as a member of the Founding Moms community, take note? Well, as I mentioned, this is, synonymous with being an entrepreneur. And so you can kind of look at this two ways. One is that you can think about how you can leverage the creator economy and content creation for your own business to bring in more revenue, and to really kind of maximize your content and your niche, or whatever your service is, and how you're bringing value to people. There's content creation opens up a whole bunch of doors there for you, but there's also a whole load of creators out there who you can work with to create content for you, to further your brand. So there's two sides of the coin here. And when you're kind of listening to this presentation, I've often, presented it to companies who are just interested in working with creators and not necessarily creating content for themselves. But you can kind of look at this as both somebody who is potentially a content creator and somebody who wants to work with creators. So, for founding moms in particular, and, women in general have had a real rough couple years with the pandemic, and moms and women have been displaced. And so what we're seeing is that the creator economy is democratizing entrepreneurship. And it's really at this a very critical time where we need these opportunities as moms to be entrepreneurs and be able to do it quickly and more easily than ever. And what's amazing is that the creator economy and all the tools coming out of it and the solutions coming out of it, that's really, there's no time better than now to do this. So we're seeing all sorts of different diverse people, moms, women, all different sorts of maybe underrepresented people as far as entrepreneurialism has gone, just taking advantage of this. And specifically, moms want to monetize their influence for a whole host of reasons, right? They want to, many moms want to stay at home and have a flexible schedule. Many moms are just looking to bring in more money. Maybe moms are leaving a 9-to-5 job and, want to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams, whatever it might be. Moms want to monetize. And right now they're making up about 30% of the creator economy. And you're looking at TikTok. I bet you this number has grown. It was at more than one in 4 TikTok users. I think it was about 27% of TikTok, last I saw this stat, is a mom. So it is really, this creator economy is incredibly ideal for moms who are looking for that flexible schedule, and looking for that creative outlet, and who help. Generally, moms are like the original influencers, and they love helping and sharing advice anyway. So this is a way that they're already helping people. How can they monetize it? And then, of course, just entrepreneurs, again, especially mom entrepreneurs, this gives them a lot of opportunities. So it's really important to kind of talk about what the difference between influencers and creators is, because in the past, they kind of meant the same thing, but that's really no longer the case. Really, an influencer brings an audience to the picture and is expected to, promote to their audience when a brand hires an influencer, they're really trying to get after that influencer's community. Whereas like a content creator does, just quite simply creates content. They don't necessarily have to have an audience or following, and we'll learn more about that type of creator in a bit. But all influencers really are creators. But now what we're seeing is that the reverse is not true. Not all creators are influencers. And one of the biggest pains of being an influencer, for those who wanted to be an influencer in the past, was growing an audience. So again, getting on board with the creator economy and seeing all these tools where you don't have to have an audience is huge. I look at this. I love this article that I saw in Philadelphia Magazine, and it just talks about how so many moms saw moms on Instagram making money, and they thought, okay, I want to do this. This looks great for me, and it's exhausting. Being an influencer, you have to. It's hard work to do affiliate. It's hard work to grow an audience, and so many tried to do it and found themselves in the exact opposite position of where they wanted to be, which was being able to be present at home with their kids while making an income, because so many of them had to just set up these elaborate photo shoots and do all this stuff to be what they thought an influencer needed to do, that it was actually taking away time from their family. So now the creator tools that are available are solving that problem, because they're allowing creators to monetize their content regardless of their audience size. And there's all different sorts of ways to monetize now. It's not just affiliate. There's digital products, there's content creation, there's all sorts of things that you can do that you really, maybe you could do them before, but just not as easily and quickly as you can today. So Kirsten Green is from Forerunner Ventures. She's one of the top women VCs out there. She's like, the OG VC for women. And she talks about, just basically how these tools are cutting out the middleman. Like, there's almost like no reason so that many of these influencers have to get deals with retailers and stuff like that, or even brands, because they have now platforms and tools where they can sell products, services, and content directly to their audience. And they're using their influence and their genuine connection with the audience to do this. So the whole landscape is shifting. I'm showing a few monetization tools here, and these are like three of, there's like a new one popping up every day. But you have Indie, which is like everyone's an influencer, and in this app you can do affiliate links, but you can also make videos for people and sell them. You can give personalized advice videos and ask me anything and charge people for them. One of my favorites is Stan, which you can find at stan.store. This allows you to sell memberships, sell digital products, downloads, that kind of thing, coaching calls. You can see them here, and it allows you to do it very, very easily. And you have this kind of all-in-one store that you can link in your bio. Mavely, one of my favorites as far as affiliate commission. It just, being an affiliate was often, I don't know, kind of a crapshoot. Like, as for an influencer, you'd have to apply, you'd hope you get accepted. If you did get accepted, you never knew what the commission was going to be. Mavely takes all of that work out, and then they also reward what they call everyday influencers. Again, you don't need to have a huge audience to join Mavely, so it's really a game changer. And this also means that it's easier for brands to go straight to creators, because all these creators are using these apps. They want to work with brands, and you can connect with them to create these UGC partnerships. And whether it's actually creating content about your product or creating adjacent content like digital products and that type of thing, you can find them now more easily, and they're ready to work with you. And just so you know, user-generated content, especially when it comes to e-commerce, if you are selling a product, like a physical product, it's 42% more effective than the content that's developed from a brand. It also has a almost 7 times higher engagement rate than the posts that are generated from a brand. So UGC and content from a creator is much more effective than you creating your own content. Not to say you shouldn't have your own content strategy. You certainly should. You can't just have it all be UGC, but those who have put more eggs in the basket of UGC are seeing a lot of great results. So UGC plus social commerce, it really offers a very powerful new sales channel for brands and entrepreneurs. So I'm going to move on to section 2, but in summary, the creator economy is exploding. Moms represent 1 in 3 creators, and the emergence of tools for maternity and juvenile product brands to connect directly with creators is opening up a whole new sales channel for brands and entrepreneurs. So let's talk about part 2, which is finding your creator game changers. Again, you can look at yourself as an entrepreneur, as a founder, as your own creator, and you can learn from these things. And maybe you want to work with brands and partner with brands. So you should think about that as well, because you could be a creator for a brand that really is a mutually beneficial relationship with another brand. So, thinking about, again, kind of what's an influencer and what's a creator. And as we talked about, really an influencer has an audience. Content creators don't necessarily have to. And each of those brings its own opportunities. So if you are looking to get great content and you don't necessarily need to tap into somebody's community right now, and even if you do, think about the content and not the number of followers or the engagement percentage, because great content will win. And there's a lot of skepticism right now over number of followers and vetting influencers and all those things, right? And fudging the numbers. So really think about the content above everything else. And, there are a number of questions that you should ask yourself before you start looking for your ideal creators. The number one thing, and honestly, when I talk to creators, I say, don't even worry about the brand if they can't answer this. What is your objective? What do you want that content to help you with? Is it education? Is it like a how-to, kind of piece? Is it brand awareness? Are you just getting out there and you just need people to know that you exist? Are you trying to connect and kind of build community? Are you kind of really just trying to do that transactional thing and get somebody to buy, right? Like all of those things, would determine how you would brief and how you would shape the content. So you really have to think about what is the objective and almost work backwards from that when thinking about your creators and the content that you want for your brand. So to help determine your objective, determine where the content's going to be used. Is it going to be used on your channels, or do you want it to be used on another person's channels? If it's going to be used on your website, like on the product pages, or you want to put a campaign out there, almost like a branded like advertising campaign on Instagram, let's just say, those would be on your channels. If you want somebody else to promote, again, that's kind of changing the avatar of the creator that you want to speak with. So depending on your objective, meaning what is it that you want? If it's brand awareness, for instance, you're probably going to want to tap into an influencer, not necessarily a creator who doesn't have an audience. Because if you're trying to raise brand awareness, making content, just putting it on your own feed is only going to get you so far. But that doesn't mean that you have to go with an influencer. But again, these are the types of things that you want to ask yourself, so you have a very clear idea of what your ideal kind of vision for this content will be. I say this all the time to brands, jack of all trades, master of none. Pick one objective and think about what the success criteria for that objective would be and focus on that. Okay. Because if you try to have 5,000 different objectives and you want the content to do 5,000 different things, it's just not going to work out. It's not going to ever be able to do all the things you want it to do. So pick one thing that you want the content to do really well. And then oftentimes I see that it achieves more, things, more goals that the brand had, like, a piece that was designed to create community actually winds up selling. But, that halo effect that it has, it really can't happen if you don't have that one objective honed before you set out to create the content and pick your creators. Another question is, what is the best content format? Short form video, so in right now, right? TikToks, Reels, so in. Also, you have YouTube Shorts that people are seeing a lot of success with. Is it long form video that would work for you? Maybe it's photography. So, we see a lot of emphasis on video right now for content because video is where a lot of things are going. And we do know that video, as far as e-commerce goes, does convert at a better rate than photography does. But you might just, you might be able to get some, again, depending on what your objective is, you might be able to make some great impact with some great photography. So thinking about where that is going to be used and what type of format it would be then used in. But again, always refer back to your objective. And I'm going to hammer this home because it's really, really important to take that moment to gut check what you're doing with the objectives that you had laid out for yourself. Once you get, the format and figure out, just what the objectives are, et cetera, what is the best channel for that format? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? If you're trying to do ads, for example, if you're trying to do something that's more kind of a transactional goal, maybe you want Facebook ads, TikTok, YouTube, all of these, and there's also TikTok ads. So thinking about where, the channel, what the actual format is, and where that is best used. And you can take content and use it across multiple channels. Like I see a lot of people taking short form video and using it across Instagram, Reels, TikTok, and also YouTube Shorts. It's a good way to get a lot of bang for your buck. But again, I think that trying to focus on doing one thing really, really well and following through on that is probably your best course of action. And now, how do I find the right creators for whatever channel I pick? So some common search methods are, hashtags. Get creative with your search. Okay, I'm just using kind of Gugu Guru as an example. We will look for moms to be. We'll look for a specific product. You might want to look for your product, or you might want to look for your brand. You might want, even if you are representing or working with a product that people misspell a lot, or a hashtag that's misspelled a lot, trying to get creative and looking around for those hashtags. Post on your socials that you're looking for ambassadors and creators. Email your lists if you have them. And then also consult your Facebook groups, whether you have your own Facebook group for your community or you're in other Facebook groups, provided that you're allowed to ask questions like that, that might be a great place to find creators. And I'm kind of dating myself here because I don't know that Craigslist necessarily does this anymore, but there was something called misconnections where people would post on Craigslist, that they saw each other and, they, do you also feel the same way, that we should meet or whatever. And this is just kind of funny when, that this person saw another person when they were at a bank robbery. The reason I post this is because A lot of times I hear from creators like that they've reached out to brands, they want to work with a specific brand, they've reached out to the brand DMs, reached out to the brand on LinkedIn, they've reached out to the brand in a bunch of different ways, and crickets, no response. And I think that maybe brands are overloaded, or maybe brands aren't checking their DMs, or maybe brands don't realize that there's like a hidden folder on things like Instagram, where you don't necessarily, it's not the first place to look, but I've found a lot of messages in my hidden folder that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this went into the hidden folder, because if you're not following someone back, sometimes they'll Instagram will put that message in the folder, and you can miss super fans. And you should definitely check your DMs, and also notifications if people are tagging you and things like that. Just keep an eye out as much as you can. Check it every few days. You don't have to go bananas, but sometimes you might miss those. So before we move on to section 3, just going to summarize what we just talked about. Again, determine one objective, determine the content format, determine the channel, pick one for all these things so that you don't make yourself crazy and try to do too much. Start searching, and then connect with your creators. And the last part is what is UGC, right? User generated content. I talked about that, and what are the best practices around that? Because right now if you haven't been hearing all the buzz around UGC, you're going to be hearing it soon, because people are jumping on the UGC bandwagon. This generation, these past few generations, millennials, Gen Y, Alpha, they are so digitally native that they are natural creators. And many of you might be millennials yourself, and you grew up with social media and stuff like that. And so, the fact that UGC is offering many people a way to monetize in a way that wasn't available to them before. There's a lot of great ways for you as a founder and entrepreneur to get in on this, but again, also for your audience, how to reach your audience through content. So again, just reviewing, we're going to pick one objective, we're going to determine that content format, we're going to determine the channel, we're going to start searching, we're going to connect with your creators. And then once you find your creators, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure they absolutely understand your goals, that one big overall objective and the success criteria, because what you want to do is you want to set your creators up for success. And, a lot of this kind of just boils down to the basics. So if you have brand voice guidelines with like do's and don'ts, don't say this about my brand, this is my visions and values, those kind of things, share those with your creator so that you can really get them on board with what your brand ethos is. If you don't have brand and voice guidelines, now might be the time to develop them, especially if you're looking to work with outside creators. They can be really simple. You can just, talk about the personality of your brand. You can talk about, again, basic kind of do's and don'ts, say this, don't say that. This is what we are. This is what the objective, of our brand is, this is who we serve, that kind of thing. And there's lots of outside sources right now, like Fiverr and Upwork, where you could probably just have somebody create something real simple for you in terms of a one page that describes your brand. Once you find creators and you've communicated everything with them about your brand and the objectives, you're going to want to plot out a timeline and also be real clear with deliverables. And you're going to share that with your creators. Make sure that your creator, here's a pro tip for you, is on board with whatever the timeline is, and that they don't have any conflicts. Because if you have something specific that you want to turn around by X amount of time, you definitely want to give your creators enough time to create great content. So you want to make sure that they are on board with that timeline before you get too far down the road and then find out that they're going away, to Hawaii for 2 weeks. provide very clear content requirements, which you already know, like what those requirements are going to be because you've already picked out your content format and kind of what you're envisioning. So, for example, videos should be landscape versus portrait, an asset we know as far as aspect ratio goes, any technical requirements. So, for example, once you are done with the content, please transfer it to this Dropbox or put it on this Google Drive folder. Really be super, super clear about everything and over communicate so that your creator knows that if they have questions or unclear on something that they can come back to you and it will make a much more seamless process. Provide clear content best practices. Those could be different for everyone, but some brands want very, very brightly lit content. They don't want busy backdrops. We just worked with a brand over at Gugu Guru that they said that they didn't want any content in people's kitchen for some reason. Okay. So also minimal background noise, no distracting or pattern clothing. Again, these things may not matter to you, but if they do matter to you, again, you want to make all of these things as clear as possible at the outset so that your creator is set up for success and that you minimize the chance of having to go back to the creator and have them redo something. Set those expectations and make sure that the creator is prepared. So do you want the option to review the content before it's finalized? Do you want to build in a round of revisions just in case? You need to think about these things beforehand or else they can get messy. If a creator doesn't know that you want to see the content before they put it in that Dropbox, and then you surprise them with that can, cause like, okay, well now I'm going to send it to you. And then maybe, oh no, you want revisions. Well, I didn't, bill you for that. I need to bill you extra. Those kind of things are things that you need to think about beforehand so that you have the, easy breezy experience of working with creator. Depending on what your product or service is, please provide very clear safety and usage guidelines and ensure that the creator signs off on this. This obviously doesn't apply to every single brand, right? But if there's some sort of assembly or some sort of safety thing that maybe a creator wouldn't know, again, just kind of speaking from my industry, because we deal with infants and juvenile products, there are so many safety things. And a creator might not know, like a new mom might not know that putting a bouncer, as funny as it sounds, on top of a table or on top of a kitchen counter or something like that, even if the baby's totally safe and mom is like right there, a brand could never use that content, right? Because it's completely deemed as unsafe. And so just being really, really clear and putting as much of the clear expectations on the creator's plate and having them sign off on it so that if by chance they then deliver a video where that bouncer is on the counter, that they can't say, okay, well, if I have to redo it, I have to charge you, because you already made it clear to them that this is what was expected, and that therefore the onus of doing it over again is totally on them. And help the creator understand that the content is unusable. I mean, most creators that want to work with you, they want to work with you again after this, right? So they want to do a great job for you. And it just, is helpful if they understand, like, hey, if you wear a blue shirt in this video, I'm not going to be able to use it. Then that helps them, really drill it in their head so that they know, okay, I cannot wear a blue shirt for this video because they're not going to be able to use the content. And I want to continue working with this person. So try to have at least one scheduled check-in with your creator before the delivery deadline, whether or not you told them that you want to see the content or not. It's good to just check in with people, and especially before it's finalized, make sure you answer any questions. If there's any gray area, that you can address it before you get again into the final stages where it might be a bit more work to revise things. So in summary of this section, We have, ensuring creators on the same page with you as far as objectives and as far as everything, so that you're really partnering with them and setting them up for success so that they can create great content for you. Share whatever brand materials you have, develop that clear timeline with dates and deliverables and have everyone sign off on it. Provide those requirements, those best practices, any safety guidelines, anything to minimize revisions and just make the process go smoothly. And then check in with creators along the way. I hope you found this helpful. And once again, my name's Monica, and my company is Gugu Guru. We have a community of over 6,000 mom content creators who are from all different sorts of niches and all different sorts of lifestyle content, and are looking to create content for brands like yours. So if you have any content creation needs, definitely shoot me an email at monica@guguguru.com. And I hope you found this very, very helpful. And if you want to be a content creator for brands, definitely get in touch as well. All right. Thanks so much and have a great day.